What's going on, guys? My name is the Milkshake Gamer and welcome to my Skyrim Paladin build video. In this video, I'm going to be showing you guys a bit of a unique build that I created completely by accident while playing Skyrim for the first time in ages. This is the first time I've done anything like this, and so I hope you guys really enjoy it. The idea behind this build is to create a high DPS class who uses restoration and light armor to create a really large amount of survivability while still achieving a very high DPS. The skills are pretty varied, and you kind of have to split them a bit thin in the beginning, but as you become more powerful and level up, you'll find that this gives you a lot of survivability and is really fun to use. It's by no means overpowered either. So first I'll get into the backstory of this build to give you guys sort of like a roleplay element, and then I'll start getting into the skills of the build. You are a Nord, born and raised in Skyrim by both a world-class warrior and a world-renowned healer. You grew up learning both combat from your father and restoration magic from your mother from a very young age. You slightly preferred magic, however, and left to High Rock from Skyrim at a young age to pursue more experiments and knowledge. One night, while you were experimenting in your laboratory with your dog, a dangerous conjuration experiment went terribly wrong. A large explosion banished your dog to oblivion and scarred your eyes black forever. After this, you vowed only to ever use restoration magic ever again. You left High Rock to seek wealth as a warrior in your homeland. It was here where you were caught when trying to cross the border and sent to be executed. Now let's talk about the skills. Your main few skills for this class are going to be one-handed, light armor, block, and restoration. Your secondary skills will be archery, enchanting, and smithing. You might be wondering why you're using the enchanting skill if you're a warrior, but in my eyes you can never go wrong investing in the enchantment skill. Whenever I play Skyrim, I always invest in enchanting, because it always ends up granting you a great strategic advantage as well as a power advantage, being able to enchant your gear with more offensive and defensive capabilities, as well as being able to spam magicka without needing to cast Soul Trap. Overall, it's just an awesome skill for any class, and that's why we're going to be investing in it. Our two biggest skills, however, are going to be one-handed and restoration. For one-handed, you're going to want all 5 points in Armsman, a couple points in Bladesman, Fighting Stance, Savage Strike, Critical Charge, and Paralyzing Strike if you want to, though I've never really found much use out of that perk, since I don't often do backwards power attacks. And for restoration, you're going to want to get Novice to Adept restoration skills, Respite, Regeneration, and dual casting if you want to. Respite is very useful for this skill. It allows you to both simultaneously regenerate health with healing spells and regenerate stamina, which is a fundamental part of this class, as we are a warrior as well as a restoration person. You don't want to get anywhere above expert level restoration skills either, as from that point onwards they're kind of just, like the Guardian Circle and stuff like that. This character is also going to be using light armor and not heavy armor, simply because I prefer light armor. I think it's better, even though it doesn't provide as much protection. It's lighter, you'll use much less stamina, and it's overall just a bit more efficient. So for that skill, you're going to want Agile Defender, Custom Fit, Unhindered, and Windwalker once you get it. I am not all that high a level yet. I'm only like level 45 on this build, so I won't have all of these perks yet, but these are all things that you will want to get. For our final skill, block, you're going to want the perk Shield Wall, as much points as you can put into that. Quick Reflexes, which is very useful for avoiding power attacks, because I find that when it goes into slow motion, you can just really quickly move out of the way. Deflect Arrows, which gives you a great advantage against ranged attackers, and then Elemental Protection, which is fundamental for being able to block spells and dragon fire attacks and frost attacks. It's a very good skill. You won't probably need many skills after that, seeing as block isn't that big a skill in this and will mostly be using healing and one-handed. There's not really much I have to say about our secondary skills though. Archery you can kind of do what you want with, and ignore it entirely if you wish, as when I was playing through this I kind of thought, oh, I'd invest in archery just to start off with, but however what I found was that I very rarely used a bow, and it's kind of just taking up space in my inventory, and I mostly use one-handed weapons. So invest in archery if you think you'll use it, however otherwise you won't need it. For enchanting, every single spell in that tree is useful. I would recommend investing as many points as you can into this, because it will just allow you to create more and more powerful enchantments and ultimately make your character much more powerful as a result. In a week or so I'll be starting to make like fast leveling videos, and I'll show you guys a bit of fast leveling on enchanting as well. For smithing is really just a side skill, even more so than archery and enchanting is. I invested in it because I wanted to get dragon scale armor eventually. However, if you're happy with just, glass armor and stuff like that, then you really don't have to invest in this at all. However, we won't be using light weapons, we will be using heavy weapons but light armor. So if you do want to invest and be able to craft Daedric weapons or Dragonbone weapons, then you can do that also if you want. Last up is stat investment. Now, this is a little bit tricky to decide, seeing as we both want magicka for restoration, but also a lot of health and stamina for combat purposes. I personally would invest about 80% into health and stamina, about 35% stamina, and then 45% health, so you should have slightly more health than you do have stamina, and then only once you've gotten enough health to account for your weakness in light armor, should you start investing in magicka. Even so, most of your magicka will come from enchantments. I personally only get my magicka from enchantments to rings and necklaces and all that stuff. In terms of actual combat, there isn't really much to say with this build. Basically, it's pretty much just the default warrior combat, run in and swing your mace/sword around like a crazy person. But there's just one added thing with this one, and that's restoration. Because you're going to be a bit squishy with your light armor, you'll want to have a restoration spell like Close Wounds on a hotkey, or on lower levels something like healing or fast healing, so that when you get low on health, you can quickly switch to that and use a healing spell to get your health and stamina back up if you're in a pickle with stamina as well. And this is where dual casting comes in, because that is another skill you can get optionally with restoration. And if you find that you're very low on health, you can optionally equip a Close Wound spell in both hands and dual cast it to get a quick health boost so you do not die. I also suggest having a good supply of health potions in case you get low on health and don't have time to switch to a spell and cast it. In terms of the gear you should equip, if you can't find any high level good stuff right away, then there are a variety of Daedric artifacts I would suggest you using. The first of which is the Mace of Molag Bal. This mace not only drains 25, I think it's magicka and health from the enemy, but it also casts Soul Trap on them, so that every time you hit them, they have 3 seconds to die, and then their soul will be trapped in an empty soul gem. You can find this mace by doing the Daedric quest for Molag Bal, which you can start in Markarth, just here on the map. Then simply walk in and find this abandoned house and talk to the wizard in front of it to start the quest. Also, if you don't have a way to get to Markarth, or it's a long walk or you haven't been there yet, you can simply go to the Whiterun stables and catch a carriage, just like I'm doing right now. A really good shield to get for this build also is the shield Spellbreaker. This is a Daedric artifact given to you by the Daedric Prince Periite, and what it does is while you're blocking, it creates a magical ward in front of you that can block all magical spells from that direction. That includes Dragonfire, which is just ridiculous and gives you a lot of magical protection early on in the game when you can't get the Elemental Protection perk. To find it, you need to go to the Shrine of Periite, located just here on the map. Once there, just talk to the Khajiit person there, and he will give you a quest to find some items to create an incense. I'll create a video later on how to find all these items, but ultimately they're pretty easy to find. And then after that, just continue with the quest. I won't spoil what happens here, but afterwards you will be rewarded with this shield Spellbreaker. Also, if you're into the sort of transformation side of Skyrim, I would highly suggest becoming a werewolf for this build. The extremely high damage output and survivability you get in this transformation complements this build perfectly. And in the end, let's be honest, it's just really fun to turn into a giant dog and just thrash people around. I had a lot of fun being a werewolf with this build, which you guys saw in my exam shout out video, and so I would highly suggest becoming a werewolf as well. But anyway, guys, that's going to just about do it for me. So thank you for watching this build. I hope you guys enjoy. I put a lot of work into this, and it kind of just came out of nowhere. I was sort of, contemplating playing a warrior for the first time since I've started playing Skyrim, and this was kind of the result. From playing a mage for so long to transitioning to a warrior, this is kind of the result, and I'm quite happy with it, and I think it's a really unique and powerful build, so I hope you guys enjoy it. I put a lot of work into this video. It's the first time I've done anything like this, and so I really hope you guys enjoy it. Also, if you couldn't tell, the way this video and the way I did it was inspired by ESO. Not the game ESO, but the YouTuber ESO. He is a wonderful Skyrim reviewer and walkthrougher and stuff like that, and his videos are just amazing. I've been watching him for years. I've even tried some of his builds. They're really good, so I would really suggest looking at his channel. I'll leave it in the description below, because typing in ESO will probably give you something on the Elder Scrolls Online, so I'll just leave that with you. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the build, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye bye.